Xiaomi has made a name for itself by making smartphones that not only look good, perform well, but are very easy on your pocket. So how does the Redmi Note 2 Prime hold up? Let's have a look. Hi everyone, it's Abhinav from PhoneBunch and this is our full review of the Xiaomi Redmi Note 2 Prime. Now this one comes with the MediaTek Helio X10 octa-core chipset, 2GB of RAM, 32GB of onboard storage, a 5.5-inch 1080p display. We'll talk about the rest of the specs as we go along. Let's talk about the build. You have a volume rocker and power button on the right, which do feel quite good, have adequate tactile response. At the top you have an IR blaster, noise cancellation mic, and the 3.5mm audio jack. Now I really don't find the IR blaster to be that useful. You might disagree. On the left there's nothing. At the bottom you have the primary microphone and micro USB data syncing and charging port. At the back there's a 13 megapixel camera with LED flash. The camera does protrude a little bit, but the metal part protects the lens from getting scratched that easily. The back is a soft touch matte finish like the Redmi 2 Prime. Feels good to hold in the hand, but I have noticed a bit of creaking in the back cover just right there. I started about 2 weeks into using the device. Now this is a 4G LTE dual SIM device. You can expand storage as well and you get a 3060 mAh removable battery. Coming to the top, you have a notification LED, 5 megapixel front camera, and you have capacitive buttons just below the display which do light up. Now coming to this display, you have a 5.5-inch 1080p panel. It's plenty sharp. It has good color reproduction. Colors really look vibrant on this display. It has wide viewing angles. There's a bit of brightness shifting that you see here. It's really not that apparent when you're actually viewing content. Though the front panel is quite reflective, it's still visible outdoors. Have a look at some of these wallpapers to see the color reproduction yourself. Now for some reason, if you don't prefer the color balance of the display, you can actually tweak that as well with Xiaomi's very useful tool which is available in display settings. Now given that this is a pretty large device, you really can't use it in one hand. So Xiaomi has included its one-handed mode here as well, which we also saw on the original Redmi Note. It's pretty easy to use and it works as it should. Now if we talk about network and call quality, again we didn't have any major issues. Call recording is also baked in. Now as I said earlier, both the FDD-LTE and TDD-LTE bands in India are supported. So you have 4G LTE support right out of the box on this one. USB tethering, Wi-Fi as well as Bluetooth tethering all do work out quite fine. And you have GPS available on this device which is pretty accurate. Now to preserve battery life, you can disable background location access on a per app basis. Xiaomi generally packs decent cameras on its smartphones and the Redmi Note 2 Prime doesn't disappoint on that front. You have a 13 megapixel rear camera which does take images pretty quickly, there is no shutter lag, and you have this familiar camera interface, and if you swipe from the bottom you have your scene modes, manual settings, timer, panorama. These are pretty alright. You would be generally using the auto mode and that actually works out to be the best one. Now if we talk about the front facing camera, it also takes images very quickly, but the images do turn out a bit hazy. Now let's have a look at some of the image samples that we took using this camera. Now this camera focuses in very quick. You do have phase detection autofocus. There are not a lot of details here. Given that this is a 13 megapixel camera, when you zoom in on the image, you really don't see that amount of detail. Yes, for sharing over social networks or with your friends, it's quite alright. The color reproduction is quite accurate as well. The HDR mode also works fine. It does bring out the highlights. The dynamic range is really not that great. Shadows, colors all get a bit muddled. And with macro shots, you have to focus in quite a number of times to get it right. Now low light performance is really not that good. There's quite a lot of noise in images, but the flash definitely helps. But there's one more thing. It sometimes overexposes images, as you can see here. So you have to be a bit careful with the flash, take 2 or 3 shots. But if you hold the phone steady, you can get some decent shots. And I would say avoid using the flash if you're trying to capture a nearby object. It really gets overexposed. Still, it's a decent camera, not that great for low light photography, and at this price point I really can't complain. The video quality is also pretty decent, but the camera hunts for focus quite a lot while recording 1080p videos. You can see that here too. You do have continuous autofocus available. You can disable that, but then you would have to manually tap to focus. Overall video quality is decent. Listen to the audio as well. Hi everyone, it's Abhinav from PhoneBunch, and right now we are recording a 1080p video sample. Now this is with the Xiaomi Redmi Note 2 Prime. Now if we come to audio quality, that's a very big bonus on this smartphone. The rear mounted speaker is pretty loud, it is clear and has a hint of bass in it as well. Have a listen to this audio. Now even the audio through the headphone jack is pretty loud. You do have FM radio built in, but the app is a bit wonky. It works sometimes it doesn't, but there are some software issues which we'll talk about later. Now you do have an equalizer built in, but you can see that it crashes most of the time. You can play 1080p videos on the device, they play flawlessly. Again, one more software thing, you can't update the YouTube app that has come pre-installed. Now I think this is just an issue with this particular unit, and it's probably a ROM issue. Nothing to do with Xiaomi, but the ROM that has been installed on this device. Now let's talk about software. So this phone is running Android 5.0 Lollipop. So it's a pretty old version, and that's generally the issue with Xiaomi devices. They get updates very few times. Just MIUI or the overall skin on the device gets updated. Now you have theme support baked in, but you can see that most of the apps, the theme app, the radio app, the app store in itself is completely in Chinese. Now you do have Play Store that comes pre-installed, so you can download all the apps from there. You don't need to use the Xiaomi Mi App Store at all. Now the rest of the things, including the notification shade, everything is similar to what you have seen with Xiaomi devices running MIUI 6, but at least you have Lollipop here and not running Android KitKat. Now out of the 32 gigs of storage, you will get more than 20 odd gigs available when you get the device. That's plenty. You can expand storage, and you have USB OTG support baked in as well. If we talk about memory management, that is a bit aggressive. At present you can see that so many apps are running, and we had about 300 odd MB. After clearing those, we had about 500 odd MB free RAM. So yes, MIUI still takes a lot of memory on the device. Which brings us to performance. And if we talk about web browsing, it is very smooth. Images and text render very quickly as well. Scrolling is smooth, as is pinch to zoom. Apps open up quickly on this device as well. I haven't noticed any lag on this device no matter what I've thrown at it. And if you just see, after opening so many apps, Chrome is still loaded in memory. So yes, memory management is pretty decent. And as I was talking about gaming as well, it was pretty smooth. Solid performance throughout our review. Now the most crucial part, battery life on this device. So most of the time we ran the device on balanced mode. You can create your own battery profiles as well, including the CPU usage mode, how many times the memory should be cleaned, the default brightness, yada yada yada. Now we were able to get about 3 odd hours of screen on time with the device, which is pretty decent and got me through one full day without the need of plugging it again. So folks, that brings us to the end of this review. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 2 Prime is one of the better smartphones available in this price bracket. Sadly, it's still not available in India, and for the near future it might not be making it here. But overall, it's still a very competitive smartphone priced around rupees 12,000. It offers excellent performance, a very good display, decent cameras as well, and well, it's easy on your pocket. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions, let us in the comment section, and as always, have a great day.